Good morning. I'm out here at Sweet Marsh by Tripola, Iowa, and I'm going to do a camouflage test. As a serious wildlife photographer, one of my biggest concerns is am I adequately camouflaged so that I can approach the various wildlife species that I'm trying to photograph. Much of my photography is done on the water, and I have used various kayaks, and I've now switched to this Old Town Sportsman Discovery 119 solo canoe that, as you notice, it's got camouflage on the side. Believe it or not, the orange camouflage actually blends in very well with cattails out here, especially this season, which is when I do most of my waterfowl photography. Last week I took one of my kayaks out, and it's an Old Town kayak, a sit-in kayak. It's camouflage, a green camouflage, and the surface of that kayak is even shot peened so that it shouldn't reflect. Well, the interesting thing is, from the water, I thought I blended in well. I put my drone in the air and took a look, and I was shocked at how easily seen I was. So today what I'm going to do, I'm not taking that kayak out. Like I said, I'm taking this canoe out, but I'm going to put my camouflage cover on. It's a 3D camouflage that I clamp on. I'll stretch that out over this canoe so that you can see it. And then I'm going to put the drone in the air, and we'll take a look, and we'll see just how effective that camouflage is. So what I'm doing today, this test that I'm doing today, is helpful not only for wildlife photographers but duck hunters as well. So I'm going to go ahead and put that camouflage cover on. I'll turn this camera back on, and we'll take a look at it, and then I'll paddle out, get into what I think is hiding, and we'll put the drone up in the air and we'll take a look, see, am I hiding or am I not hiding? Just how visible am I? So I'm going to pause this now and put that camouflage cover on. I now have my cover on this canoe, and I'm about ready to go out and do this test. So I'm going to do the test, but I'm also going to do wildlife photography. But there you can see the concept. Not only do we have the various colors, but notice how I didn't put that cover on nice and tight, nice and straight all around. I'm breaking up the shape of that canoe. Notice too, for what it's worth, I've got a cover on the shaft of my kayak paddle, my double-bladed paddle. Yeah, I use a double blade even though it's a canoe. And then when I get parked out in the water, generally I try to have the blades vertical like that so that they're not reflecting off as much of the sun as well. But I don't know. Maybe that doesn't make a difference. We'll see. But I'm going to go out now. Paddle out, I'll get in a good spot, and I'll put the drone in the air, and we'll do some comparisons from last week when I did this to today when I do it with the cover on, and see if it makes a difference. I think it's going to make a huge difference, but time will tell. Let's go out on the water and see. One important detail that I need to add is that I am wearing camouflage from the waist up, and often I even wear the camouflage jeans, so that I am not a dead giveaway. And I also have a face mask on. My camera and lens are all under camouflage, and my tripod is also camouflage. So really I'm floating camouflage from top to bottom. I am not wearing matching camouflage. I don't see that as a huge issue because in nature everything is haphazard, so I don't see that as a big issue. But I am wearing camo to break up my pattern and break up my sharp outlines. For anybody in the northeast Iowa area that's wondering, this is Martin's Lake now that the renovations have been completed, and it's filled with water. There's quite a bit of area, flooded area, that's got woody growth, but that should die back here or fall back over time. But it does offer plenty of habitat for the waterfowl. When I'm out here on the water, very seldom do I leave the water with good pictures taken while I'm moving. Yeah, occasionally I can sneak up on some species while I'm moving, but most of the time I get in one spot and then I just wait. I kind of sit in hiding and hope that I blend in well enough that something will swim by or fly over close or something to make a nice photo. But the movement is a dead giveaway. It's just not natural. But you have to get out there and you have to get back, so you deal with it. Being I am paddling slower, and I'm not pushing it. I can't push it, so I don't push it, and I think that minimizes the amount of fear. And the critters get up, and they get up in the air, fly around, and pretty soon they come back. I don't generally have the GoPro visible either. I'm doing that just for today's video. I'm paddling along some of that vegetation that grew up while this was drawn down for a couple of summers. It got quite a start, and hopefully it'll rot back, die back, fall back, whatever. But it does provide a lot of habitat for the ducks, and I'm guessing for the fish that have been introduced here to get this reestablished as a fishing location. If you decide to put one of these covers on your kayak, your canoe, your boat, whatever, be aware that if you hang it too deep, too far over the sides, it's going to soak up water, get really heavy, and drag you back, drag you down. So I'm very cognizant of that, and I try not to hang it too far over the side. If it hits the water, that's okay a little bit, but I don't want it dragging in the water to act like a fabric anchor. Otherwise, if it stays dry, it doesn't weigh hardly anything, so you don't notice it. In front of me to the left, out a ways, are a handful of Canada geese, and there's 2 sandhill cranes right next to them. I am sure the sandhill cranes know that I'm out here. In fact, they might be positioning to take flight, but I'll do a slow approach and see just how close I can get. I don't look as obvious as I would if I was in a standard canoe or kayak or boat, that's for sure. And anymore, one of the heartburns that I have with a lot of the vessels coming out now is they're so bright and they're so colorful. So if you want to blend in, at least what I have found, for the most part, you got to go back to the older vessels. Sometimes when there's a bunch of canoes or kayaks out on the water, it looks like a box of crayons spilled on the water. And I would much rather blend in. All right, so far the sandhill cranes haven't even started to vocalize anything. They may just drop over the edge of the dike on the other side into that vegetation. We'll see. Way further out, there's a bunch of trumpeter swans taking flight. You might see the white in the sky. They're quite a ways away. Nope, those are pelicans, I believe. Yep, that's got to be pelicans. There's so many of them. And I see the black on the wings. So far, the cranes aren't doing any moving. We might be getting close enough I can shoot some still photos. We'll see. Lots of pelicans taking off. Yep, the sandhill cranes took flight. You probably can't tell with the GoPro microphone, but there's more around. I thought maybe they would circle closer, but they didn't. I hear more, but I don't see them yet. I wonder if they see me. And if you're watching in the distance, the pelicans just keep flying and flying and flying. There's more and more and more. But they're in a different pool, so I won't probably see them. There's a sandhill crane popping over the dike. Two of them. I'll get here in this vegetation and maybe that won't bother them. The crane just pushed the goose away. Hopefully the camera's picking it up. I think I'll leave the sandhill cranes and head into some thicker vegetation. This is the new Sweet Marsh Martin's Lake for now. I don't know how long it'll take this woody growth to die back, from being flooded and break down, or if it even will. I would think, but I don't know. Guess we'll see. This isn't waterfowl, but we have male red-winged blackbirds that aren't too concerned with me being here. Maybe my blending is working. I don't know if the camera's picking it up or not, but the pelicans are really moving around, so maybe, just maybe, they'll fly over this area. I don't know if it has enough open water for them or not. I didn't put the GoPro up right away, but I have had wave after wave after wave, hundreds of ducks flying over. Now that I'm not moving anymore and I'm completely covered, I'm not sure with the GoPro out if that will be an issue or not. But just so very many. I'm going to go ahead and put the drone in the air now so we can take a look at this. I may have to pause because of the pelicans that are flying around. We'll see, but I'm gonna try to put this in the air and get some pictures of this camo situation, so then I can concentrate on wildlife photography for a while if they come close. And right now it doesn't look like they're coming too close, so I should be good. As soon as the drone is ready, I'll lift off and we'll take a look at this and get some photos. One thing you probably have already guessed is I'm doing this from the seat of my canoe, so I have to be pretty careful how I do this. The taking off isn't the hard part, it's the landing again, and I'm doing hand launches and hand catches, so let's hope this goes well. Well, it's a little bit disappointing that even with the camouflage cover on, the shape of the canoe is still very obvious. The question is, does it make a difference for the waterfowl? And I don't know. When you come at it from a different angle, it's hardly visible. So I'm not sure what to think. I'm going to have the drone just do a circle around this position so we can look at it from 360 and kind of evaluate the effectiveness of the camo. Okay, now I'll move the canoe ahead to get into more cattails and see what that does. From an incoming waterfowl's point of view, I'm not sure of their ability to discern danger, or a duck hunter or a photographer. I guess I just don't know. I don't know what their ability is. I know as I sit here right now, I've had quite a bit of wildlife flying over, and I'm going to bring this drone in. For those who may be wondering, yes, flying the drone, at least taking off from my hand and then landing again on my hand when I'm in a canoe, is not my favorite thing to do. When I was still working before I retired early, I flew the drone in some pretty interesting situations. And I think this gets right up there in those types of scenarios. Because if I do it wrong, I could either A, crash my drone, B, get an unexpected haircut, C, trim my nails in a really primitive way. So I have to be very careful when I launch, and especially when I bring it down. And bringing it down here, I needed to move forward because I was too close to the cattails. And between the cattails being in close proximity, wind also changes when we've got things around us. So it's people on YouTube make it look easy, and really it's not that bad if all the conditions are right. I can do it. I've done it many times, but doing it in a canoe or a kayak, they're doing it from a canoe or kayak, is a different story. And I've actually done it while I was on a river with current, and that makes it even more difficult, but it can be done. There you have it, a very basic test of putting a camouflage cover, a 3D camouflage cover on a camouflage colored canoe versus the test that I did last week where I took out a camouflage colored kayak that was shot peened. And for those who aren't familiar, shot peen means the surface is rough, it's textured, so it doesn't have near as much glare or reflections. So the cover again is this. Blend in well. I suppose the next thing I could do if I really wanted to carry this to further detail is I could not use this camouflage coat. I could put on a ghillie suit, and I've got various patterns of ghillie suits as well. But I don't know that I'll bother to do that. I still believe that probably the best thing to do would be to paddle out and then get out of the canoe, hide the canoe in some cattails, and then wade to other cattails. But conditions just don't always work for that, whether it's the temperature or the depth of water or whatever. So for now, I'm just trying to find the best way to do this when I'm on the water and I'm still staying dry. If you like these kind of videos, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share it with your friends, whether they're wildlife photographers or duck hunters, what have you. Share it with your friends so others can see this. And I do thank you for watching.